Good morning. You're listening to On This Day with Brian Byrne. It's Monday, 18th of May, 2020. On this day in 1897, the novel Dracula by Irish-born author Bram Stoker was published. It was to become the defining version of a range of variations on the vampire fantasy theme which have existed in literary fiction since the 18th century. A short German poem based on the hedonistic life of Lord Byron in the mid-1700s is generally regarded as the literary beginnings of the genre. The themes are erotic and generally reflect images of people coming back from the dead to seek love or retribution. Stoker was born in Clontarf in November 1847 to a family of means and was educated in a private school. His early years were marked by illness, which he later said gave him the leisure for the opportunity of many thoughts. He received his further education in Trinity College, Dublin, where he became interested in the theatre. He later joined the Irish Civil Service. His interest in Gothic tales came through a time writing as a theatre critic for the Dublin Evening Mail, co-owned by Gothic tales writer Sheridan Le Fanu. Stoker wrote his first published fiction stories in this period. It was after reviewing a performance of Hamlet by actor Henry Irving that he became friends with the man for whom he was to work for over 2 decades. Stoker married the daughter of a Clontarf neighbour, Florence Balcombe, in 1878. They moved to London and he became the business manager for Henry Irving's Lyceum Theatre. Though the work kept him very busy, he found time to write, his first novel being based on St. Patrick ridding Ireland of snakes. He began writing Dracula while on a favourite holidays location of Cruden Bay in Scotland. It's believed that Slains Castle on the bay was his inspiration for Count Dracula's home in the novel. There are many theories as to where Stoker's inspiration for the protagonist came from, but he is not known to have ever visited Transylvania in Romania, where the tale is set. There's a theory that the name came from the notorious Vlad III Dracula, a barbaric ruler in Romania from the 15th century. When the novel was published, it received critical acclaim from reviewers, who placed the author ahead of other horror authors Mary Shelley and Edgar Allan Poe. Among the novel's admirers was the creator of Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Stoker went on to publish several other novels in the horror style, and also a very successful biography of Henry Irving. But Dracula wasn't a big seller success at the time, and made him very little money. Indeed, in the last year of his life he was so badly off that he had to apply for a compassionate grant from the Royal Literary Fund. After his death at the age of 64, Florence had to sell his notes and the outlines of the original novel at auction, and they were bought for a little over £2. The story became more popular after adaptations appeared, beginning with the 1922 German silent film Nosferatu. Florence tried to have that quashed in the courts, though the notoriety of the case ironically increased interest in the book. Successful touring stage adaptations and a 1931 American movie version kept the 20th century interest going. Through the 1930s and 1940s, Dracula was a character in a stream of horror films produced by Universal Studios. In my memory, the quintessential Dracula was the Hammer Films production in 1958, with Christopher Lee playing the title role. Peter Cushing played the vampire's nemesis Van Helsing, and both actors continued with the characters in a range of sequels in subsequent years. Though the character and the tale are undoubtedly exceptionally strong, it's worth wondering if the novel would have been as captivating if released with the author's working title, The Dead Undead. Dracula has a much more powerful ring to it. A sequel was published in 2009 by the author's great-grandnephew Dacre Stoker with Ian Holt. It combined both as called Dracula the Undead. A prequel is expected. But the original, which has inspired a vast family of blood-sucking monster creations down the decades, first saw the light, so to speak, 120 years ago on this day.